She is the daughter of two great elves of Middle-earth. While her story would be a brief one, it is one defined by both tremendous love and tremendous sorrow. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we cover the life of Celebrian. Celebrian's parents are Galadriel, greatest of elven women, and her husband Celeborn, prince of the fallen realm of Doriath. Shortly after the end of the First Age, they would leave Lindon to dwell in the lands around Lake Evendim in the north of Eriador. Given their journeys, it is likely here that their daughter Celebrian is born around 300 years into the Second Age. Celebrian would no doubt leave Evendim with her parents around the year 700. They would establish themselves in the realm of Eregion, which is founded 50 years later. Among the people who follow Galadriel and Celeborn to Eregion is Celebrimbor, who establishes the realm near the dwarves of Khazad-dûm after the discovery of Mithril. While Celebrimbor is known as the leader of the Gwaith Myrdain and Lord of Eregion, Galadriel and Celeborn held great power in the realm. However, this would be undermined by the arrival of Annatar, a supposed emissary of the Valar. Galadriel would not trust this emissary, who would gradually undermine her and Celeborn, leading them to be stripped of their authority. Around the year 1350, Celebrian and her mother would depart Eregion forever, passing through Khazad-dûm thanks to their dwarven friends, and coming to Lorinund, east of the mountains. Celeborn, however, would remain in Eregion, in part because of his disdain for the dwarves. It was dwarves of the Blue Mountains that had killed his grand-uncle Thingol. Celebrian would dwell in this land, later known as Lorien, for the next 350 years. Meanwhile, Celeborn would take part in the war in Eregion. At some time during her early life, Celebrian would be given a green jewel by her mother. This gem, known as the Elfstone, has conflicting accounts as to its origin. In one version of the tale, it would be brought back from Valinor by Gandalf and given to Galadriel. Another version says this was a second Elfstone, made by Celebrimbor and given to Galadriel, for whom he held an unrequited love. Around 1600 of the Second Age, Annatar would be revealed to be Sauron when he forges the One Ring. The Dark Lord then attacks and destroys the realm of the Jewelsmiths. After the war is finished, and Sauron driven back to Mordor, Galadriel and Celebrian would go searching for Celeborn. They traveled to Rivendell, where they find her father alive. They would live in Imladris for some time, and in Unfinished Tales, we are told that it was then that Elrond first saw Celebrian, and he loved her, though he kept this secret. It would not be until over 800 years later that Celebrian would marry Elrond, in 109 of the Third Age. 21 years later, Celebrian would give birth to their twin sons, Elladan and Elrohir. 91 years after the twins, they would have a daughter, Arwen. For well over 2,000 years, their family would dwell in Rivendell. Aside from notable battles against the realm of Angmar, they would enjoy many years of peace. On occasion, Celebrian would visit her mother and father in Lorien, where they now ruled as Lord and Lady. On one such trip to Lorien in 2509 of the Third Age, Celebrian is waylaid by orcs while taking the Red Horn Pass, the very pass the Fellowship would attempt centuries later. Her travel companions are scattered in the attack, and Celebrian is seized and carried off. In her captivity, Celebrian is tormented by the orcs. Her twin sons would come to her rescue, saving her from her captors. Sadly, during her captivity, she had received a poisoned wound. Elladan and Elrohir bring Celebrian to their father in Rivendell, where Elrond, the great healer who would save Frodo centuries later, would heal his wife's physical wounds. However, he could not heal her mind or spirit. Celebrian loses all delight in Middle-earth. The following year, she would be taken to the Grey Havens, sailing to the Undying Lands, the one place where true healing could be found. She would leave behind her husband, their 3 children, and her parents, all of whom would dwell in Middle-earth for at least the next 500 years. Yet a piece of Celebrian would remain. The Elfstone gem she possessed would be passed down to her daughter Arwen. Later, when the Fellowship arrives in Lorien, Galadriel would reveal the Elfstone once more. Then she lifted from her lap a great stone of a clear green, set in a silver brooch that was wrought in the likeness of an eagle with outspread wings. And as she held it up, the gem flashed like the sun shining through the leaves of spring. "This stone I gave to Celebrian, my daughter, and she to hers. And now it comes to you as a token of hope. In this hour take the name that was foretold to you, Alystraea, the Elfstone of the House of Elendil." The Elfstone of Galadriel, Celebrian, and Arwen would come to Aragorn as a gift from the family of the bride to the groom. And Aragorn would take its very name as his own when he is crowned King Elessar. Finally, in 3021, 2 years after Sauron's downfall, Elrond and Galadriel would be among those to board the White Ship, sailing alongside Gandalf and Bilbo and Frodo Baggins into the uttermost west. No doubt, Celebrian would finally be reunited with her husband and her mother after centuries apart. As for her other family, her children and father would remain in Middle-earth for a time. For Arwen, her choice of a mortal life would mean she would not see her mother again while the world remained. For she would embrace the doom of man, her spirit upon her death going beyond the circles of the world, to where only Eru knows. It is believed that Celeborn would dwell for a time in Rivendell, alongside his grandsons Elladan and Elrohir. Finally, at some point around 2 centuries into the Fourth Age, Celeborn would take the last ship with Círdan, finally going to be reunited with his wife and daughter. As for Celebrian's twin sons, Elladan and Elrohir, their fate is a mystery. While they certainly chose to remain in Rivendell for a time, we know not whether their choice was to be counted among men or elves, a choice to remain in Middle-earth as the time of the elves wanes, or to take their own ship, sailing to the uttermost west and being reunited with their family once more. The life of Celebrian is one marked by great love, often overshadowed by its great tragedy. In her, we see that while physical wounds may be healed, those of the mind sometimes cannot. And while she would be the first among her family to depart for Valinor, those she left behind would be pivotal in defeating the great evil and bringing about a new age of Middle-earth. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters who make this channel possible. Tom DeBombadil19, Lissamy the Cinda, Rabbi Rob Thomas, Charles Leisure, CCDC Red Team, Joe Tepper, The Mighty Mim, Andrew Carlisle, Swirled Traveler, Matthew Jeffrey, Viking Lord, Alvin Einbert, Jeremy Daniel Derby, Madame Director, Leo Vittori, Sky Carcass, Slide Belts, Dane Ragnarsson, Berto Berg, Graham Derricott, The Dark-Haired One, Wyland, Micah Wu, and Debbie. If you enjoyed the artwork in this video, check out the artists in the description to purchase prints of their great work for yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.